I think I've lost track. Is it week 7, Mr. Britton?
We must be on to 7. I can't believe it's been 7 weeks.
No, that's actually longer than a normal summer holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has gone a little longer than we thought. But we're still here, and we will be every Friday, as long as you need us to be here. Special hello to Roger Ray, who was in the background at a conference called this week with Mrs. Henderson Tucker, and he walked past the screen and said, "It's the Assemblyman." So I'm reaching all sorts of corners here. So hello, Roger, if you're watching. Now then, we're going to have our usual introductory song as we come in, and you might think that I've lost the plot here. If we start an assembly with "Do you know how Christmas trees are grown?" And it's not December, then you can worry. But I have a reason for this. We don't normally sing it at this time of the year, but it's one of your favourites, and I'll get to a reason why in a moment. So it's the Harvest Samba. It's nice to do that one, isn't it? I miss it. It's a shame we can normally do it in October. So that's good. Thank you, Mr. Britton, for that harmony singing there. I'm sure that'll come across beautifully.
Well, I hope not.
Now, don't you edit yourself out. Here we go. Orchestra, I hope you're ready. And recorder players, we sent you all the music for Shalom. And recorders, don't forget, violin parts, flute parts are in your range. And violin too is a really nice, simple one you can play along with if you fancy that. But buenas tardes, todos. Gracias. Well, here we are, week 7, keeping in touch. Now, last week I mentioned a family of moles from Glasgow. And I couldn't resist just popping this up on the screen because there they were. The boys after they started. Kirsty there, she hadn't started school. And on the Alex here, he actually played the part of Frederick, the swashbuckling pirate when we did Pirates of Penzance. And I bet you can guess what part he played. And he played Oliver. And here they are now. There you go. That's what happens to you when you've left school and you become a bigger mole. And that was just so lovely to see that. So hello Scotland, hello Glasgow. Here's all the family as well. Clearly thriving up there, and all their work in the medical profession, keeping many, many people safe. So thank you. So here we go. Now then, we've just got a new science teacher in the house.
Horses. Hi, I'm Profos, and today we'll be demonstrating horses using 3 experiments from 3 different groups of forces. Experiment 1. Hello, Dave. Who's a good doggy? Oh, my pens! Dave! These are not food. Oh, there you are. Oh, hello, guys. Okay. Once I've got my pens in. Okay. Today, I'll be talking about applied force. Now, there are 2 types of applied force. Push and pulling motion. Now, I'm going to demonstrate both of them using a car and some Hot Wheels track. Now, I am now pushing the car. I am now pulling the car. But if I apply the same amount of force from both ends, the car stays still. Experiment 2. Dave, do not eat my pens this time. Hi guys. So, this time we'll be demonstrating.
And we're leaving it there. There's a whole science lesson that Rex has done there. So golden mole to you, Rex, for all of that. Thank you very much. And certainly I am not worrying about staff shortages. I already know from the films we've got a languages teacher in the waiting and now a science teacher or 2 as well. This week's birthdays, last week we had the longest list ever. This week it's the shortest. So when you're doing your washing of the hands for 20 seconds, Year 1, you can sing happy birthday to Jack. Year 3, Lily and Madison. And Year 6, Joseph and Hayden. Now then, there's another phenomenon on the internet with a certain Mr. Lucas and a baked potato song. Well, we now have Eve and Henry performing with him.
We can sing together now. There we go. Baked potato changed my life.
Baked potato showed me the way.
If you want to know what is wrong from right,
You must listen to what potatoes say.
Wash your hands to stay indoors.
Thank you, baked potato.
Only go to grocery stores.
Thank you, baked potato. If you want to have a better day, you must listen to what the baked potatoes say.
Keep some distance, make some space.
Thank you, baked potato.
Remember not to touch your face.
Thank you, baked potato.
and if you want to have a better day, you must listen to what the baked potatoes say. B-A-K-E-D-P-O-T-A-T-O. Baked potato.
I did enjoy that. That's, I think, wins the cute factor, I think, this week. And obviously a golden mole there, which means it must be time for... Now, before the gallery kicks off, we've got here another
We have
film.
brilliant burgers and fantastic fries. We have healthy salads and fresh fruit to eat. Did you know we have iPads and a free play area for kids? Be sure to visit McDonald's when lockdown is over.
Well done. Now then, that was an impressive bit of persuasive movie advert work. I think McDonald's owe you a fee for that. Well done, George. Anyway, here's the gallery. And first up, we have Isaac for his persuasive advert for a Nintendo Switch. I hope you're getting paid for this, all of you. These adverts, they're brilliant. Meanwhile, Orla, a full PowerPoint presentation on the Vikings, including a quiz. And Amy and Lily, superb flatbreads, which they have made following instructions from Katie's Kitchen. I think it's Mexican this week, by the way. Looking forward to that. Alfie, exceptional work across the board and a fabulous Science Forces video as well. Well done, Alfie. Now, Seb, great work on area and perimeter extensions, as well as an amazing work ethic while learning at home. Well done. Next up, every one of you in Year 5 who took part in the self-portrait project, we are amazed by them, every single one, and they also are appearing on the school blog, so fantastic. Florence, meanwhile, had her birthday on the lockdown. She got a new bike and then has been cycling all over. She's ridden to South Dalton there and back up down hills, and it was 15.7 miles, and she's in Year 1. Lenny, a girl in Milford, stay active, completing Joe Wick's PE and 2 laps of circuit training every day. Chloe, fantastic research about 1960s music and fashion. Next up we've got Charlotte for some stunning sketch work. Wow. Yeah. Next up, Max, organising a concert for his daddy's birthday last week. And he made a concert program on the computer and organised all the snacks. That was wonderful. What a lovely, I bet Dad must be so chuffed. Freddie, keeping fit and cycling 158 miles in 40 days. You're going to be well fit when you come back, all of you, aren't you? Now, Matilda was rescuing a mouse and helping it to find its home. So caring for wildlife, there you are, Matilda. Max, a fantastic shadow investigation in science, and also the same goes to another Max. There we go. Mapping out the different shadows. Now Penny, a lovely view from her window for the Year 3 art project. And Mia, who's coming up next for some super science work and a brilliant poster to promote staying safe in the sun. Ada also, it's been a week of science. Ada also for her science work, and again a poster to promote staying safe in the sun. Jacob returns for continuing to read and share books with his friends. Now this next one is for Seth, who raised £305, which is donated to the Acorn Ward, Children's Ward at the Hull Royal Infirmary, through the auction of his artwork, an online auction. Wow. Jacob, for taking time to carry out extra research about VE Day. That's nice to hear. Glad you enjoyed last week's assembly, and I hope you all did enjoy the celebrations. Freya, for the first, this is the first and most wonderful hand of friendship, the first one I've seen. Freya, thank you so much. That's brilliant. And the last one in the gallery itself is Winnie's, and it's some fantastic bird drawing in the garden. Thank you, Winnie. Now, it's interesting that Winnie actually sent that in, because I have been watching the birds in my garden, and I've got a pond, and the variety, now it could be they're always there and I just don't see them, but the variety of birds that are bathing in my pond and loving the insects coming off it is amazing. And it got me thinking a bit about our environment, our world, and the nature, and how maybe it is reacting to the virus and the effects of it. Now just look at this picture here. Now that is a photograph, two photographs taken at the same time, but in different years. That's in India. It looks like Delhi, but I might be wrong. But that side here, that shows you what it normally looks like with the smog from all the traffic and the pollution from the factories. That is what it looks like now. I would say our planet is quite thankful, maybe, that we're not driving around so much, we're not polluting. Then I looked for some more evidence as well. Now then, that is two maps, okay, mainly of China, and the yellow, reddish brown shows pollution in the air. That is last year. That is this year, now. Now the lockdown in China started earlier than us, it was in January, but not over the entire country. But look at the difference. That is astonishing in just a few months. And this graph here, that shows pollution generally in a selection of British cities. We've got Belfast, Birmingham, Bristol, Cardiff, Glasgow, London, Manchester, Newcastle and York, which is the nearest one to us. The blue column shows the pollution normally, that's the average pollution from 2015 to 2019, and so that's averaged out over those years. The red is 2020. Look at the difference. That has got to make us think. Now clearly, we will be going back to normal, but maybe we ought to reflect now what that normal should be. Now, a parent sent me this video link, and I thought I have got to use this. What it's showing you is a dad reading a storybook to his son, okay? But the storybook is written in the future. It was written after the virus had finished, and after the world changed, but changed for the better. So this is like a message from the future. And it could be a rather special one. See what you think.
Tell me the one about the virus again, then I'll go to bed.
But my boy, you're growing weary, sleepy thoughts about your head.
Please, that one's my favourite. I promise just once more.
Okay, snuggle down, my boy, though I know you know full well. The story starts before then, in a world I once would dwell. It was a world of waste and wonder, of poverty and plenty, back before we understood why hindsight's 2020. You see, the people came up with companies to trade across all lands, but they swelled and got much bigger than we ever could have planned. We'd always had our wants, but now it got so quick. You could have anything you dreamed of in a day, and with a click. We noticed families had stopped talking. That's not to say they never spoke, but the meaning must have melted, and the work-life balance broke. And the children's eyes grew square, and every toddler had a phone. They filtered out the imperfections, but amidst the noise, they felt alone. And every day the skies grew thicker, till you couldn't see the stars. So we flew in planes to find them, while down below, we filled our cars. We'd drive around all day in circles. We'd forgotten how to run. We swapped the grass for tarmac, shrunk the parks till there were none. We filled the sea with plastic, because our waste was never capped, until each day when you went fishing, you'd pull them out, already wrapped. And while we drank and smoked and gambled, our leaders taught us why. It's best to not upset the lobbies, more convenient to die. But then in 2020, a new virus came our way. The governments reacted and told us all to hide away. But while we all were hidden, amidst the fear, and all the while, the people dusted off their instincts. They remembered how to smile. They started clapping to say thank you, and calling up their mums And while the car keys gathered dust, they would look forward to their runs. And with the skies less full of voyagers, the earth began to breathe, and the beaches bore new wildlife that scuttled off into the seas. Some people started dancing, some were singing, some were baking. We'd grown so used to bad news, but some good news was in the making. And so when we found the cure, and were allowed to go outside, we all preferred the world we found to the one we left behind. Old habits became extinct, and they made way for the new, and every simple act of kindness was now given its due.
But why did it take a virus to bring the people back together?
Well, sometimes you've got to get sick, my boy, before you start feeling better. Now lie down and dream of tomorrow, and all the things that we can do. And who knows, if you dream hard enough, maybe some of them will come true. We now call it the Great Realization. And yes, since then there have been many. But that's the story of how it started, and why hindsight's 2020.
I think that's wonderful. There's real hope there, and certainly the great realization, the conversations I've had with people here at work or via FaceTime or whatever, is that there is a realization and that we've found things that we had but actually had lost. But of course the future is here. The world is clear. And here in Beverley, we've been allowed now to move around a bit more, and there's a few photographs here of our world. It's very, very close to us. I'm sure you'll recognise that silhouette. That's Mr. Rousell. He took all those photographs on Beverley Westwood, and doesn't it look absolutely glorious? He's looking very thoughtful there as he's gazing out across the Westwood. Possibly taking time to remember what we actually have and what we can protect, and that it is there now. We haven't lost it yet. And in 3 months from those photographs and those graphs and maps I showed you, look how far the world had already healed. It's not dead. It's healing. And if we can do that in 3 months, just think what we can do as a whole global world community coming together. Surely if we can do it, we can save our planet and rescue and protect all those wonderful environments that we enjoy and all that wildlife. Which brings me on to Charlie. Now Charlie and his mum decided that they wanted to plant something in their garden as a living thing which they would always have as a memorial to this particular time. And they ordered two small trees. Anyway, they received 2 boxes with 2 trees. And so I've got them here. As they had 2 spare, they contacted me and said, Mr. Longstone, would you like two trees to plant in the school grounds as a reminder of what we went through and of new life and future? And I said, absolutely, that'd be fantastic. And they're both weeping pussy willows. And I'm hoping, I'm still watering them, don't worry, that we'll get Mr. Platten to plant them out, probably at the front somewhere, so that we'll all be able to see them and watch them grow. And in the springtime, they get covered in the most beautiful catkins. I'm sure many of you will know exactly about that. So thank you so much, Charlie. And what a lovely idea of planting a tree as a memorial. And garden centres evidently opened yesterday. I'm not sure we all go rushing, but you never know. You might be able to get something yourself for your garden. Now then, it is that time, orchestra and recorders, and we're going to be doing Shalom. But before we do, I've just got to point something out. I found a beautiful version of it, but I soon realised that every version of Shalom has different words. Now, we know this backwards. So just look carefully. Shalom, my friend, shalom, my friend, shalom, shalom. God's peace be with you, God's peace be with you, shalom, shalom. And then they have a second verse. Shalom, my friend, shalom, my friend, shalom, shalom. Till we meet again, shalom, shalom. Okay? So, the whole thing is done. So we have the first verse, we have the second verse. Then we do the 4-part round, just like we do in assembly, twice, using the lyrics, and then finish off all together again. I'm sure you'll cope. I'm sure you'll manage. But this version I found is really beautiful. Okay, so, in French, I believe. Chantez tout le monde, levez-vous s'il vous plaît.
Shalom, my friend, shalom, my friend, shalom, shalom. God's peace be with you, God's peace be with you, shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friend, shalom, my friend, shalom, shalom. Till we meet again, till we meet again, shalom, shalom.
Now the 4 parts.
Shalom, my friend, shalom, my friend, shalom, shalom. God's peace be with you, God's peace be with you, God's peace be with you, God's peace be with you. Shalom, my friend, shalom, my friend, shalom, my friend, shalom. Till we meet again, till we meet again, till we meet again, shalom, meet again, shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friend, shalom, my friend, shalom, shalom. God's peace be with you, God's peace be with you, shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friend, shalom, my friend, shalom, shalom. Till we meet again, till we meet again, shalom.
till we meet again. That theme again. Isn't it amazing how these hymns come around and how they just work for us at the moment. I hope you did the 4 parts at home. If you didn't, rewind that. Mum, Dad, you need to take a part each. Okay. Now then, if you'd like to make the prayer your own, or put your hands together, or close your eyes, or say the Amen at the end. Today I make a prayer for our planet, the one and only home we have. For decades we've abused it, taken from it, and not given back. We pollute it without a care for the environment which we share with all other life on Earth. And yet today, as a result of a worldwide lockdown, the air is fresher. The pollutants in the air have disappeared. The birds sound sweeter and the bees busier. Is this a sign? Maybe all is not lost. Maybe we can reverse the damage, even now. So may we not forget the chance we have to work together to reverse this damage to our world. We have seen that we can, as the human race, work together to defeat coronavirus. So surely in the future we can do the same to protect the world from the poison of our own making. Amen. Thank you very much, everybody. Asseyez-vous, s'il vous plaît. Well, we'll be here again next week. And those parents who are wondering, there will be information about what's happening in the future very shortly coming to you. But today, we're not going to leave with a hymn. I want you to watch some more pictures set to music of beautiful England, our homeland, which we now can start to visit again. See you next week.